In the age of convenience, where our homes are becoming smarter and our lives more connected, there lurks a shadow that few dare to acknowledge. Imagine waking up to a voice in your living room that isn't yours, or your smart fridge ordering groceries you never asked for. These aren't scenes from a sci-fi thriller. They are real stories, true tech horror tales that reveal the sinister side of smart devices. Welcome to a world where the very gadgets designed to make life easier can turn against us in the most unexpected ways. Smart devices have revolutionized how we live. From voice assistants that control our lights and thermostats, to security cameras that watch over our homes. These innovations promise comfort, efficiency, and safety. But beneath the surface of this digital utopia lies a darker reality. The same technology that listens to our commands can also listen when we dainty want it to. The devices that protect us can be manipulated to invade our privacy, steal our data, or even threaten our safety. Take, for example, the story of a family in suburban America who discovered their smart baby monitor was broadcasting their private moments to strangers halfway across the globe. What was meant to be a tool for peace of mind became a gateway for intrusion and fear. Or consider the chilling case of a smart thermostat that was hacked to manipulate the temperature in a home, turning a cozy winter night into a dangerous freeze. These are not isolated incidents, but part of a growing pattern of vulnerabilities that expose the dark underbelly of the Internet of Things. The allure of smart technology is undeniable. It promises a seamless integration of our digital and physical worlds, where a simple voice command can dim the lights, play music, or lock the doors. But this convenience comes at a cost. Every device connected to the internet is a potential entry point for hackers, cybercriminals, and even governments seeking to monitor or control. The more we rely on these devices, the more we risk losing control over our own environments. What makes these tech horror stories so compelling and terrifying is the contrast between the promise of smart devices and the reality of their vulnerabilities. On one hand, they offer unprecedented convenience and innovation. On the other, they open doors to new forms of surveillance, manipulation, and harm. This duality is at the heart of the modern tech dilemma. How do we balance the benefits of connectivity with the risks it entails? In this script, we will explore some of the most harrowing true stories where smart devices turned sinister. We'll delve into the technical flaws that made these incidents possible, the human errors that exacerbated them, and the broader implications for privacy and security in our increasingly connected world. From hacked baby monitors to compromised smart locks, from voice assistants that eavesdrop to smart TVs that spy, these stories will reveal the hidden dangers lurking in the devices we invite into our homes. But this isn't just a tale of doom and gloom. Understanding these risks is the first step toward reclaiming control. We'll also discuss practical steps you can take to protect yourself and your family, how manufacturers are responding to these challenges, and what the future might hold for smart technology. It's because while the horror stories are real, so too is the potential for smarter, safer innovation. Let's start with one of the most unsettling examples, the hacked baby monitor. In 2016, a family in Texas was horrified to discover that their baby monitor, a device meant to provide comfort and security, was being accessed by strangers. The intruders didn't just watch, they spoke to the child, played disturbing sounds, and invaded the family's privacy in the most intimate way. How did this happen? The answer lies in weak security protocols, default passwords, and the rush to market products without adequate safeguards. This incident sparked widespread concern and highlighted a critical issue. Many smart devices are designed with convenience in mind, but security is often an afterthought. Manufacturers prioritize features and user experience over robust protection, leaving consumers vulnerable. The result is a landscape where hackers can exploit simple vulnerabilities to gain access to devices that are literally inside our homes. Contrast this with the promise of smart technology, a world where parents can check on their children from anywhere, where devices seamlessly integrate to create a safer environment. The reality, however, is that without proper security, these devices can become tools of fear rather than comfort. This contrast frames the core tension of our story, the gap between what smart devices promise and what they sometimes deliver. Moving from the nursery to the living room, consider the case of smart TVs. These devices, equipped with cameras and microphones, offer a new level of entertainment and interactivity. But they also pose unique risks. In 2017, security researchers demonstrated how hackers could take control of a smart TV's camera and microphone, turning it into a spying device. Imagine the implications. Your TV watching you, listening to your conversations, and transmitting that data without your knowledge. The horror here is not just the invasion of privacy, but the invisibility of the threat. Unlike a traditional computer, a smart TV is often overlooked as a potential security risk. Users don't think to secure it with strong passwords or update its software regularly. This complacency creates an opening for attackers who exploit the trust we place in these devices. Again, the contrast is stark. The smart TV is marketed as a gateway to endless entertainment and convenience, yet it can become a silent observer in your home. This duality is a recurring theme in tech horror stories. The very features that make devices smart also make them vulnerable. Another chilling example comes from the world of smart locks. These devices promise to replace traditional keys with digital access, offering convenience and enhanced security. But what happens when the lock itself is compromised? In 2018, a security researcher revealed that several popular smart locks could be hacked remotely, allowing unauthorized entry. The implications are clear. A device meant to protect your home could be turned against you. This story highlights a broader issue in the smart device ecosystem: the tension between innovation and security. As companies race to develop new features and capture market share, security often takes a back seat. The result is a patchwork of devices with varying levels of protection, many of which are vulnerable to attack. The consequences of these vulnerabilities extend beyond individual homes. As smart devices proliferate, they create a vast network of interconnected systems that can be exploited on a large scale. In 2016, the Mirai botnet attack used thousands of compromised smart devices to launch a massive distributed denial of service (DDoS) attack, disrupting major websites and services. This event demonstrated how insecure smart devices could be weaponized to cause widespread harm. The horror stories don't stop there. Voice assistants, hailed as the future of human-computer interaction, have their own dark side. These devices are always listening for their wake word, raising concerns about constant surveillance. There have been documented cases where voice assistants have recorded private conversations and sent them to unintended recipients. The idea that your device might be eavesdropping without your consent is unsettling, to say the least. What drives these tech horror stories? Often it's a combination of factors: rushed product development, inadequate security standards, user negligence, and the inherent complexity of interconnected systems. The rapid pace of innovation leaves little time for thorough testing and security audits. Consumers, eager to adopt the latest technology, may overlook security warnings or fail to update their devices. Yet, despite these challenges, the smart device revolution is far from doomed. Awareness is growing, and both manufacturers and consumers are beginning to take security more seriously. New regulations, improved security protocols, and better user education are helping to close the gap between promise and peril. As we continue this journey through true tech horror stories, keep in mind that these tales are not meant to scare you away from smart technology. Instead, they serve as cautionary reminders of the risks we face and the vigilance required to navigate this new digital landscape safely. In the next section, we'll dive deeper into specific incidents, exploring how hackers exploit vulnerabilities, the psychological impact on victims, and the evolving strategies to defend against these threats. We also examine the role of government and industry in shaping the future of smart device security. Stay with me as we uncover the dark side of the smart home revolution, because understanding the horror is the first step toward mastering the technology that shapes our lives.
When we think about technology turning sinister, it's easy to imagine complex cyber attacks orchestrated by shadowy figures in distant countries.
But often, the reality is far more unsettling, because it happens in the places we trust most, our homes. The very devices designed to simplify daily life can become instruments of fear, control, and invasion. To truly grasp the scope of this threat, we need to look beyond headlines and into the personal stories of those who have lived through these tech nightmares. One such story comes from a young couple in Seattle who installed a popular smart security camera system to protect their home. The system promised real-time alerts, remote monitoring, and peace of mind. But within weeks, they began noticing strange activity. The camera would turn on by itself. The lens would pan without command, and eerie noises would occasionally come through the speaker. At first, they thought it was a glitch. Then the unthinkable happened. The camera's microphone picked up a voice speaking directly to them, a voice that wasn't theirs. The couple soon realized their security system had been hacked. Someone, somewhere, was watching and listening. The feeling of violation was profound. Their sanctuary had been breached, not by a physical intruder, but by a digital one. This incident is a stark reminder that smart devices, especially those connected to the internet, are only as secure as their weakest link. What makes these attacks possible? Often it's a combination of poor security practices and the inherent vulnerabilities in the devices themselves. Many smart devices come with default passwords that users never change, leaving them wide open to brute force attacks. Others have outdated software that manufacturers no longer support, meaning known security flaws remain unpatched. In some cases, the devices communicate with cloud servers that lack robust encryption, exposing data to interception. Contrast this with traditional security measures. A physical lock, while not infallible, offers a tangible barrier. A security camera without internet connectivity can only record locally, limiting exposure. But smart devices trade physical security for digital convenience, and with that trade comes new risks that many users don't fully understand. The psychological impact of such invasions is often underestimated. Victims report feelings of helplessness, anxiety, and paranoia. The idea that someone could be watching or listening without their knowledge shakes the foundation of personal privacy. For families with children, the stakes are even higher. The thought that a stranger could access a baby monitor or a child's smart toy is deeply disturbing. In response to these threats, cybersecurity experts emphasize the importance of vigilance. Changing default passwords, regularly updating device firmware, and using strong, unique passwords for associated accounts are basic but crucial steps. Additionally, segmenting your home network, keeping smart devices on a separate network from your computers and phones, can limit the damage if one device is compromised. But even with these precautions, the responsibility shouldn't fall solely on consumers. Manufacturers must prioritize security from the design phase, implementing features like two-factor authentication, encrypted communications, and automatic updates. Unfortunately, the market often rewards innovation and speed over security, leading to a proliferation of vulnerable devices. This tension between innovation and security is at the heart of many tech horror stories. Companies race to release the latest smart gadget, eager to capture consumer interest and market share. Security, which requires time, expertise, and resources, is often sidelined. The result is a landscape dotted with devices that are easy to hack and difficult to secure. Consider the infamous Mirai botnet attack of 2016, which exploited thousands of insecure smart devices, cameras, routers, and DVRs to launch a massive distributed denial of service DDoS attack. This attack took down major websites and services, including Twitter, Netflix, and Reddit, for hours. The scale and impact of this event shocked the tech world and highlighted the dangers of insecure IoT devices. The Mirai attack was a wake-up call, but progress has been slow. Many devices still ship with default credentials, and consumers often remain unaware of the risks. The problem is compounded by the sheer number of smart devices entering homes every year. Analysts estimate that by 2025, there will be over 75 billion connected devices worldwide. Each one is a potential entry point for attackers. Beyond individual homes, these vulnerabilities have national security implications. Smart devices are increasingly integrated into critical infrastructure, power grids, transportation systems, and healthcare facilities. A breach in these systems could have catastrophic consequences. Governments around the world are beginning to recognize this threat and are pushing for stricter regulations and standards for IoT security. Yet regulation alone cannot solve the problem. The tech industry must embrace a culture of security where protecting users is as important as delivering new features. This means investing in secure coding practices, thorough testing, and transparent communication with consumers about risks and updates. The human factor also plays a crucial role. Social engineering attacks, where hackers trick users into revealing passwords or installing malware, remain highly effective. Educating consumers about these tactics and promoting cybersecurity awareness is essential. One of the more disturbing trends in tech horror stories involves voice assistants like Amazon's Alexa, Google Assistant, and Apple's Siri. These devices are designed to be always listening for their wake word, ready to respond to commands. But what happens when they listen too much? There have been documented cases where voice assistants have recorded private conversations without the user's intent and sent those recordings to random contacts. In one notable incident, an Alexa device overheard a conversation, misinterpreted it as a command, and sent a recording to someone in the user's contact list. The breach of privacy was immediate and alarming. This raises questions about how much we trust these devices and the companies behind them. Voice assistants rely on cloud processing, meaning your voice data is sent to remote servers for interpretation. While companies claim to use encryption and anonymization, the potential for misuse or unauthorized access remains. Moreover, hackers have demonstrated the ability to issue hidden commands to voice assistants through inaudible frequencies or embedded signals in TV, shows, and advertisements. This voice squatting or dolphin attack technique can cause devices to perform actions without the user's knowledge, such as unlocking doors or making purchases. The implications are chilling. Our homes, once private sanctuaries, can become arenas for unseen digital battles. The convenience of voice control comes with the risk of losing control altogether. Smart toys are another unsettling frontier, designed to entertain and educate children. These devices often collect data on their users, including voice recordings and behavioral patterns. In some cases, hackers have exploited vulnerabilities to communicate directly with children through the toys. Raising serious safety concerns, parents face a difficult dilemma: embrace the benefits of technology or protect their children from potential harm. The balance is delicate and the stakes are high. As we navigate this complex landscape, it's important to remember that technology itself is neutral. It's how we design, implement, and use it that determines whether it becomes a tool for good or a source of fear. The stories we've explored so far reveal a pattern. The more connected we become, the more exposed we are. But they also highlight the resilience and ingenuity of those working to secure our digital lives. From ethical hackers who expose vulnerabilities to companies developing advanced security solutions, there is hope. In the next section, we will examine the technical details behind these attacks, demystifying how hackers exploit smart devices. We'll also explore the emerging technologies and strategies aimed at making smart homes safer, and what you can do to stay one step ahead of the threats. Understanding the mechanics of these attacks is crucial, not just for experts, but for anyone who owns or uses smart technology. Because in this new era, knowledge is power, and awareness is the first line of defense. Stay tuned as we continue to unravel the true tech horror stories and uncover the path toward a safer, smarter future. To truly understand how smart devices turn sinister, we need to peel back the layers of technology and see exactly how hackers exploit these systems. It's not just about a random breach or a lucky guess of a password. It's a calculated, often sophisticated process that preys on design flaws, user habits, and the interconnected nature of the Internet of Things (IoT). By demystifying these attacks, we can better appreciate the risks and, more importantly, how to defend against them. At the core of many smart device hacks is the concept of weak authentication. Many devices come with default usernames and passwords: admin, password 123, or even no password at all. These defaults are often never changed by users, creating an open door for attackers. Automated tools scan the internet for devices with these default credentials, allowing hackers to gain control en masse. This is how the Mirai botnet was born. It's turning thousands of insecure devices into a powerful army for cyber attacks. But it's not just about passwords. Many smart devices communicate with cloud servers to function properly. These communications can be intercepted, if not properly encrypted. Imagine sending a private conversation or a security camera feed over the internet without a secure lock on the data. Hackers can eavesdrop, capture, and manipulate this information, turning your smart home into a surveillance target. Firmware vulnerabilities are another major attack vector. Firmware is the low-level software that controls the hardware of a device. If it contains bugs or security flaws, hackers can exploit them to gain control. Unfortunately, many manufacturers do not provide regular firmware updates. Users don't apply them, leaving devices exposed. Worse, some devices lack the capability to update firmware at all, meaning once a vulnerability is discovered, it remains open indefinitely. One particularly insidious technique is called man-in-the-middle attacks. Here, hackers intercept the communication between your device and the cloud server, altering or stealing data without either party realizing it. For example, a smart thermostat's temperature settings could be manipulated remotely, or a security camera's video feed could be replaced with a fake stream, giving the illusion that everything is normal while the home is actually unprotected. Another common exploit involves unsecured APIs, application programming interfaces. APIs allow different software components to communicate, and many smart devices rely on them to function. If these APIs are poorly secured, hackers can use them to access device functions or data. For instance, an attacker might use an unsecured API to unlock a smart door or disable an alarm system. Social engineering remains a powerful tool in the hacker's arsenal. Even the most secure device can be compromised if the user is tricked into revealing credentials or installing malicious software. Phishing emails, fake tech support calls, and deceptive websites are common tactics used to gain access to smart device accounts. The complexity of smart home ecosystems adds another layer of risk. Many devices from different manufacturers must work together, often through a central hub or voice assistant. This interconnectedness means that a vulnerability in one device can potentially compromise the entire network. For example, a hacked smart light bulb could serve as a gateway to access a home's Wi-Fi network and then infiltrate other devices. Contrast this with traditional standalone devices, which operate independently and don't share data. The convenience of integration comes with the price of increased attack surfaces. Each new device is another potential entry point for hackers. Understanding these technical details is crucial, but it's equally important to recognize the human element. Users often prioritize convenience over security, choosing easy-to-remember passwords or skipping updates because they're inconvenient. This behavior creates opportunities for attackers. So what can be done to mitigate these risks? The first step is awareness. Knowing that your smart devices can be hacked is the foundation for taking action. From there, several best practices can significantly reduce vulnerability. Change default passwords immediately upon setup. Use strong, unique passwords for each device and associated accounts. Consider using a password manager to keep track of them. Enable two-factor authentication to FA wherever possible to add an extra layer of security. Keep device firmware and software up to date. Manufacturers release updates not just for new features, but to patch security vulnerabilities. Ignoring these updates leaves your devices exposed. Segment your home network. Use a separate Wi-Fi network for smart devices, isolating them from your computers and smartphones. This limits the potential damage if a device is compromised. Disable unnecessary features. If your smart device has functions you don't use, like remote access or voice control, turn them off. The fewer active features, the smaller the attack surface. Be cautious with third-party integrations. While connecting your devices to other services can be convenient, it also increases risk. Only use trusted apps and services, and review permissions regularly. Educate yourself and your family about phishing and social engineering tactics. Be skeptical of unsolicited messages or calls, asking for personal information, or urging immediate action. On the manufacturer side, there is a growing movement towards security by design. This approach integrates security considerations from the earliest stages of product development. Features like automatic updates, encrypted communications, and secure boot processes are becoming standard in higher quality devices. Regulatory bodies are also stepping in. Governments worldwide are introducing legislation to enforce minimum security standards for IoT devices. For example, The European Union's Cybersecurity Act and California's IoT security law require manufacturers to implement basic protections like unique passwords and vulnerability disclosure programs. Despite these advances, the smart device landscape remains a patchwork of security levels. Consumers must remain vigilant and proactive. Emerging technologies offer hope for a safer future. Artificial intelligence and machine learning can detect unusual device behavior, alerting users to potential breaches. Blockchain technology is being explored to create decentralized, tamper-proof device networks. Hardware-based security modules can protect sensitive data even if the device is compromised. But technology alone isn't enough. Building a culture of security awareness and responsibility is essential. This means educating consumers, holding manufacturers accountable, and fostering collaboration between industry, government, and security experts. The stakes are high. As smart devices become more integrated into our lives, controlling everything from our homes to our cars, and even medical devices, the potential consequences of a breach grow more severe. Imagine a hacked pacemaker or a compromised autonomous vehicle. These scenarios are no longer science fiction, but emerging realities. The true tech horror stories we've explored so far are warnings, not inevitabilities. They remind us that every convenience comes with a cost, and that cost is often our privacy and security. In the next section, we'll shift focus to the human stories behind these technical details. We'll hear from victims who have experienced the terror of smart device breaches firsthand, exploring the emotional and psychological toll. We'll also look at how communities and support networks are forming to help those affected and advocate for stronger protections, because behind every hack, every vulnerability, there are real people whose lives are disrupted. Understanding their experiences is key to driving change and building a safer digital future. Stay with me as we continue to uncover the true tech horror stories, because the more we know, the better prepared we are to face the challenges ahead. Behind every headline about hacked smart devices, there are real people whose lives have been upended by technology gone wrong. The technical details are important. The human stories reveal the true cost of these breaches, the fear, the violation, and the struggle to reclaim control. These personal accounts bring the abstract dangers of smart devices into sharp, unsettling focus. Take the case of Maria, a single mother living in a quiet neighborhood in Ohio. She installed a smart doorbell camera to keep an eye on her home while she worked late shifts. One evening, she received a notification that someone was at her front door. When she checked the live feed, she saw a stranger staring directly into the camera. Then, the speaker crackled to life, and the stranger spoke. Using her own doorbell to taunt her and her children, Maria was terrified. The device meant to protect her family had become a tool for harassment. She felt violated in her own home, a place that should have been safe. The police were called, but tracking down the hacker proved difficult. The incident left Maria anxious and distrustful of technology she once embraced. Stories like Maria's are becoming more common as smart devices proliferate. Victims often report feelings of helplessness and paranoia, unsure if their devices are secure or if someone is watching. The psychological impact can be profound, affecting sleep, relationships, and overall well-being. In another case, a retired couple in Florida discovered their smart thermostat had been hacked multiple times. Each time, the temperature in their home would swing wildly, from freezing cold to stifling heat, sometimes in the middle of the night. The couple, both in their 70s, found the experience disorienting and frightening. They felt powerless against an invisible attacker who could manipulate their environment at will. These incidents highlight a disturbing reality. Smart devices can be weaponized not just to steal data, but to disrupt lives and create fear. The intangible nature of these attacks makes them especially insidious. Unlike a broken window or a stolen wallet, the damage is invisible but deeply felt. Victims often face a long road to recovery. Beyond securing their devices, they must rebuild a sense of safety and trust. Support groups and online communities have emerged to help those affected share their experiences and find practical advice. These networks provide a vital lifeline, offering empathy and guidance in navigating the aftermath of a breach. The emotional toll is compounded by the complexity of smart technology. Many victims struggle to understand how the attack happened or how to prevent it from happening again. The technical jargon and constant updates can be overwhelming, leading some to abandon smart devices altogether. This reaction, while understandable, is a loss. Smart technology offers tremendous benefits, from energy savings to enhanced security, if used wisely. The challenge is to empower users with knowledge and tools to protect themselves without fear. Law enforcement agencies are also adapting to this new landscape. Cybercrime units are increasingly involved in investigating smart device breaches. But the decentralized and international nature of these crimes makes prosecution difficult. Jurisdictional issues, lack of evidence, and the anonymity of attackers pose significant hurdles. Despite these challenges, there have been successes. Some hackers have been caught and prosecuted, sending a message that these crimes have real consequences. Collaboration between tech companies, law enforcement, and cybersecurity experts is improving, leading to better detection and response capabilities. Education plays a crucial role in prevention. Awareness campaigns aimed at consumers emphasize the importance of securing devices, recognizing phishing attempts, and reporting suspicious activity. Schools and community centers are beginning to include cybersecurity in their curricula, preparing the next generation for a connected world. Manufacturers are also responding to consumer concerns. Some companies now offer dedicated security teams, bug bounty programs that reward ethical hackers for finding vulnerabilities, and clearer privacy policies. Transparency about data collection and device capabilities helps build trust. However, the pace of change is slow, and many devices on the market remain vulnerable. Consumers must remain vigilant and proactive, balancing convenience with caution. The human stories behind tech horror also reveal broader societal issues. Privacy, once taken for granted, is increasingly fragile in a world of connected devices. The line between public and private spaces blurs as our homes become digital ecosystems. This shift raises ethical questions about surveillance, consent, and data ownership. Who controls the information collected by smart devices? How is it used, shared, or sold? These questions are at the heart of ongoing debates about technology and society. In some cases, smart devices have been used for stalking or domestic abuse, turning technology into a tool of control and intimidation. Advocates are calling for stronger protections and support for victims, highlighting the need for technology to be designed with safety in mind. The intersection of technology and human rights is a critical frontier. Ensuring that smart devices enhance rather than undermine our lives requires a holistic approach, one that considers technical security, legal frameworks, and social impact as we continue to explore true tech horror stories. It's clear that the battle for control over our digital lives is far from over. But by listening to the voices of those affected, we gain insight into the real-world consequences and the urgent need for change. In the next section, we will examine how industry leaders and innovators are tackling these challenges. From cutting-edge security solutions to new standards and regulations, we'll look at the efforts underway to make smart devices safer for everyone. Because the future of technology depends not just on what's possible, but on what's responsible. As the stories of tech horror continue to unfold, it's clear that the industry cannot afford to ignore the growing chorus of concern from consumers, security experts, and regulators alike. The good news is that many companies and innovators are stepping up to the challenge, developing new technologies and frameworks designed to protect users and restore trust in smart devices. This section explores the cutting-edge solutions and industry efforts aimed at turning the tide against the sinister side of smart technology. One of the most promising developments is the rise of hardware-based security modules embedded directly into smart devices. Unlike software-only protections, which can be bypassed or corrupted, hardware security modules provide a physical layer of defense. These chips securely store cryptographic keys and perform sensitive operations. It's making it much harder for attackers to extract data or take control. For example, some smart locks now include secure elements that verify the authenticity of commands before unlocking. preventing unauthorized access, even if the network is compromised. Alongside hardware improvements, manufacturers are increasingly adopting secure-by-design principles. This means security is integrated from the earliest stages of product development rather than being an afterthought. Features like encrypted communication channels, automatic firmware updates, and multi-factor authentication are becoming standard. These measures help close the gaps that hackers have exploited in the past. Automatic updates, in particular, are a game changer. Previously, many devices required users to manually download and install patches, a process often ignored or misunderstood. Now, devices can receive security updates seamlessly in the background, ensuring vulnerabilities are fixed promptly without user intervention. This reduces the window of opportunity for attackers and keeps devices safer over time. Another key innovation is the use of artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning to detect anomalous behavior. Smart home hubs and security systems can analyze patterns of device activity and flag unusual events that may indicate a breach. For instance, if a smart camera suddenly starts streaming at odd hours, or a thermostat settings change erratically, the system can alert the user or even take automated action to isolate the device. This proactive approach shifts security from reactive to preventive. Industry collaboration is also gaining momentum. Recognizing that no single company can solve these challenges alone, manufacturers, cybersecurity firms, and standards organizations are working together to establish best practices and interoperability standards. Initiatives like the Internet of Things Security Foundation, IOTSF, and the Open Connectivity Foundation, OCF, promote secure development and certification processes. Helping consumers identify trustworthy products, regulatory pressure is accelerating these efforts. Governments worldwide are introducing legislation to enforce minimum security requirements for smart devices. For example, California's IoT security law mandates unique passwords and vulnerability disclosure programs for connected devices sold in the state. The European Union's Cybersecurity Act establishes a certification framework for ICT products, including IoT devices. These regulations push manufacturers to prioritize security and transparency. Privacy concerns are also driving innovation. Companies are exploring ways to minimize data collection and enhance user control. Edge computing, where data processing happens locally on the device rather than in the cloud, reduces exposure to interception and misuse. Some devices now offer granular privacy settings, allowing users to decide what data is collected and how it's used. Blockchain technology is another emerging tool in the security arsenal. By creating decentralized, tamper-proof ledgers, blockchain can enhance device authentication and data integrity. For example, a smart lock could use blockchain to verify authorized users without relying on a central server, reducing the risk of hacking or data breaches. Despite these advances, challenges remain. The diversity of devices, manufacturers, and use cases makes standardization difficult. Many low-cost devices still prioritize price over security, flooding the market with vulnerable products. Consumers often lack the technical knowledge to evaluate security claims or configure devices properly. Education and awareness are therefore critical components of the solution. Industry leaders are investing in user-friendly interfaces, clear documentation, and customer support to help users secure their devices. Public awareness campaigns aim to demystify cybersecurity and encourage best practices. Ethical considerations are also coming to the forefront. As smart devices become more integrated into daily life, questions about data ownership, consent, and surveillance intensify. Companies are being called upon to adopt transparent policies and respect user rights, balancing innovation with responsibility. The role of ethical hackers, security researchers who identify and report vulnerabilities, is increasingly recognized. Bug bounty programs incentivize these experts to help improve device security rather than exploit weaknesses. This collaborative approach strengthens defenses and fosters a culture of continuous improvement. Looking ahead, the future of smart device security will likely involve a combination of technological innovation regulatory frameworks, and cultural shifts. The goal is to create an ecosystem where convenience and security coexist, empowering users without compromising privacy or safety. For consumers, the takeaway is clear. While the industry is making progress, vigilance remains essential. Choosing devices from reputable manufacturers, keeping software updated, and following security best practices are vital steps in protecting your digital home. In the next section, we will explore practical tips and strategies you can implement today to safeguard your smart devices. From securing your home network to managing device permissions, these actionable steps will help you take control and reduce your risk of becoming a tech horror story because, in the battle between convenience and security, knowledge and preparation are your strongest allies. Now that we've explored the dark side of smart devices and the industry's efforts to improve security, it's time to focus on what you can do to protect yourself and your home. The reality is that no device is completely immune to threats, but with the right precautions, you can significantly reduce your risk and enjoy the benefits of smart technology without fear. The first and most important step is securing your home network. Your Wi-Fi router is the gateway through which all your smart devices connect to the internet, making it a prime target for attackers. Start by changing the default administrator password on your router to a strong, unique one. Many people overlook this simple step, leaving their network vulnerable to unauthorized access. Next, ensure your router's firmware is up to date. Manufacturers regularly release updates that patch security vulnerabilities and improve performance. Check your router settings or the manufacturer's website for instructions on how to update the firmware. Some modern routers even offer automatic updates, which is a feature worth enabling. Consider setting up a separate guest network specifically for your smart devices. This isolates them from your primary devices like computers and smartphones, limiting the potential damage if a smart device is compromised. Many routers support multiple networks, allowing you to segment your home's digital ecosystem easily. Enable WPA3 encryption. On your Wi-Fi network, if your router supports it, WPA3 is the latest and most secure Wi-Fi encryption standard, providing stronger protection against password guessing and eavesdropping. If WPA3 isn't available, use WPA2, but avoid older protocols like WEP, which are easily cracked. Once your network is secure, turn your attention to the devices themselves. Change default passwords immediately upon setup. Use strong, unique passwords for each device and associated accounts. Avoid reusing passwords across multiple devices or services. Password managers can help you generate and store complex passwords securely. Enable two-factor authentication to FA. Wherever possible, 2FA adds an extra layer of security by requiring a second form of verification, such as a code sent to your phone in addition to your password. This makes it much harder for attackers to gain access, even if they obtain your credentials. Regularly check for and install firmware and software updates on all your smart devices. These updates often include critical security patches. Set devices to update automatically if that option is available. If not, get a habit to check for updates periodically. Be mindful of the permissions you grant to smart devices and their companion apps. Many devices request access to data or features that may not be necessary for their core functions. Review these permissions carefully and disable any that seem excessive or intrusive. Disable features you don't use. For example, if your smart speaker has a camera or microphone that you don't need, turn them off. The fewer active features, the smaller the attack surface. Monitor your devices for unusual behavior. If a device starts acting strangely, turning on by itself, changing settings, or sending unexpected notifications, investigate immediately. Check for firmware updates, reset the device to factory settings if necessary, and consider disconnecting it from your network until you can determine the cause. Use network monitoring tools or apps to keep an eye on the devices connected to your home network. These tools can alert you to new or unauthorized devices. It's helping you spot potential intrusions early. Be cautious when integrating third-party services or apps with your smart devices. While these can add functionality, they also increase risk. Only use trusted sources and review the permissions and data access they require. Educate everyone in your household about smart device security. Make sure family members understand the importance of strong passwords, recognizing phishing attempts, and reporting suspicious activity. Children and elderly family members may need extra guidance. When purchasing new smart devices, research the manufacturer's security track record. Look for products that offer regular updates, strong encryption, and transparent privacy policies. Avoid cheap, no-name brands that may cut corners on security. Consider investing in a dedicated, smart home security system that includes features like intrusion detection, device monitoring, and automated alerts. These systems can provide an additional layer of protection and peace of mind. Back up important data regularly. While smart devices themselves may not store critical data, associated apps and cloud services might. Ensure you have copies of important information in case of data loss or ransomware attacks. If you suspect your smart device has been compromised, act quickly. Disconnect it from your network, change passwords, and contact the manufacturer for support. Report the incident to your local law enforcement or cybercrime unit if necessary. Privacy is another crucial aspect of smart device security. Review the privacy settings on your devices and apps. Limit data sharing to what is strictly necessary and opt out of data collection programs if possible. B. Aware of the physical security of your devices. Place cameras and microphones in locations that minimize exposure to sensitive areas. Cover or disable cameras when not in use if your device allows it. Finally, stay informed. The landscape of smart device security is constantly evolving. Follow reputable sources for news and updates on vulnerabilities, patches, and best practices. Being proactive and informed is your best defense. By taking these steps, you can transform your smart home from a potential liability into a secure, convenient environment. The goal is not to eliminate risk entirely, that's impossible, but to manage it intelligently. In the next section, we will explore some of the most shocking and bizarre true tech horror stories from around the world. These tales will illustrate just how creative and relentless attackers can be, and why vigilance is essential, because sometimes truth is stranger and scarier than fiction. The world of smart devices is filled with stories that sound like they belong in a thriller novel, except they're all true. These tech horror stories reveal just how inventive and relentless attackers can be, exploiting vulnerabilities in ways that are both shocking and unsettling. As we dive into these real-life accounts, you'll see why vigilance and security are not just technical concerns, but essential for protecting your peace of mind. One of the most bizarre cases involved a smart refrigerator. Yes, the very appliance meant to keep your food fresh became a tool for chaos. In 2019, a family in California noticed their fridge was behaving strangely. It was ordering groceries they never requested, playing loud music at odd hours, and even displaying unsettling messages on its screen. After investigation, it turned out that hackers had gained access to the fridge's internet connection and were using it to send spam emails and launch cyber attacks on other MT networks. This incident highlights a frightening reality. Any connected device, no matter how mundane, can be weaponized. The fridge was not just a victim, it became a participant in a larger cybercrime operation. The family had to disconnect the appliance and replace it, a costly and frustrating ordeal. Another chilling story comes from a smart home in the UK, where a hacker took control of the family's smart lighting system. Late one night, the lights began flickering violently, switching colors erratically and turning on and off in rapid succession. The family was terrified, especially their young children who were convinced the house was haunted. The hacker had exploited a vulnerability in the lighting system software, demonstrating how even seemingly harmless devices can be used to intimidate and disrupt in a more sinister case. A woman in Canada discovered that her smart voice assistant had been recording private conversations without her knowledge. The device had misinterpreted background noise as its wake word and started recording. Worse, it sent some of these recordings to a random contact in her address book. The breach of privacy was devastating, and the woman felt betrayed by a device she had trusted. These stories underscore a common theme. The line between convenience and vulnerability is razor thin. The very features that make smart devices appealing, always-on microphones, remote access, automation, also create opportunities for abuse. In the realm of smart toys, the risks become even more personal. In 2017, a popular internet-connected doll was found to have serious security flaws. Hackers could remotely access the doll's microphone and speaker, allowing them to listen to children and even speak to them through the toy. Parents were horrified to learn that a device meant to entertain and comfort their children could be turned into a surveillance tool. This case sparked widespread outrage and led to calls for stricter regulations on smart toys. It also raised awareness about the importance of securing devices designed for vulnerable users, such as children. Smart cars are another frontier where tech horror stories are emerging. Modern vehicles increasingly rely on software and connectivity for navigation, entertainment, and even driving functions. In 2015, security researchers famously demonstrated how they could remotely take control of a Jeep Cherokee, disabling brakes and steering while the vehicle was in motion. The manufacturer issued a recall to fix the vulnerability, but the incident revealed the potential dangers of connected vehicles. Imagine the consequences if such an attack were carried out maliciously on a busy highway. The stakes are life and death. And the need for robust security in automotive technology is critical. Smart medical devices also present unique risks. Pacemakers, insulin pumps, and other life-sustaining devices are increasingly connected to networks for monitoring and updates. In 2017, researchers showed that certain pacemakers could be hacked to deliver harmful shocks or drain batteries. While no known attacks have occurred in the wild, the potential for harm is alarming. These examples illustrate that as technology becomes more integrated into our bodies and lives, the consequences of security failures become more severe. Protecting these devices is not just about privacy, but about safety and survival. The scale of these threats is amplified by the growing number of smart devices worldwide. With billions of connected gadgets in use, attackers have a vast playground. Automated tools scan for vulnerable devices, and once compromised, these devices can be used for further attacks, data theft, or disruption. The diversity of devices, from refrigerators to pacemakers, means that security solutions must be adaptable and comprehensive. A one-size-fits-all approach won't work. Instead, tailored strategies that consider the unique risks of each device type are necessary. These tech horror stories also reveal the human element behind the attacks. Some hackers are motivated by financial gain, using ransomware or data theft to extort victims. Others seek notoriety, demonstrating their skills by exploiting high-profile targets. Some are state-sponsored actors engaging in espionage or sabotage. Understanding these motivations helps in developing effective defenses. For example, financial criminals may be deterred by strong encryption and rapid incident response, while nation-state actors require coordinated international efforts to counter. The psychological impact on victims cannot be overstated. Many report feelings of violation, anxiety, and loss of control. The invisible nature of these attacks makes them especially distressing. Unlike physical crimes, the evidence is often intangible. The perpetrators' anonymous support networks and counseling services are emerging to help victims cope. These resources provide not only technical assistance but also emotional support. Recognizing that recovery involves more than just fixing devices as we reflect on these stories, it's clear that the promise of smart technology comes with significant risks. The convenience of connected devices must be balanced with a commitment to security and privacy. In the next section, we will look ahead to the future of smart devices. What innovations are on the horizon? How will emerging technologies shape the security landscape? And what role will users, manufacturers, and regulators play in creating a safer digital world? Because the story of smart technology is still being written, and the choices we make today will determine whether it becomes a tale of empowerment or horror. Looking ahead, the future of smart devices is both exciting and fraught with challenges. As technology advances, the integration of artificial intelligence. 5G connectivity and edge computing promises to make our devices smarter, faster, and more responsive. But with these advancements come new security considerations that will shape the next chapter of the tech horror story, or hopefully its redemption. Artificial intelligence AI is poised to revolutionize smart devices by enabling them to learn from user behavior, anticipate needs, and automate complex tasks. Imagine a home that adjusts lighting, temperature, and even meal preparation based on your habits and preferences. While this level of personalization offers unparalleled convenience, it also raises the stakes for security. AI systems require vast amounts of data to function effectively, increasing the risk of sensitive information being exposed or misused. Moreover, AI itself can be weaponized. Attackers can use machine learning algorithms to identify vulnerabilities faster, craft more convincing phishing attacks, or even manipulate AI-driven devices to behave maliciously. Defending against AI-powered threats will require equally sophisticated countermeasures, including AI-based security systems that can detect and respond to attacks in real time. The rollout of 5G networks will further accelerate the proliferation of smart devices by providing faster, more reliable connectivity. This will enable new applications like autonomous vehicles, smart cities, and advanced healthcare monitoring. However, the increased speed and scale of 5G also mean that attacks can propagate more quickly and affect more devices simultaneously. Ensuring the security of 5G infrastructure and the devices that rely on it will be critical to preventing large-scale disruptions. Edge computing, which processes data locally on devices rather than sending it to centralized servers, offers promising security benefits. By keeping sensitive data closer to the source, edge computing reduces exposure to interception and hacking. It also enables faster response times and greater privacy control. However, securing edge devices presents its own challenges, as these devices often have limited processing power and may be deployed in diverse, sometimes unsecured environments. In response to these evolving threats, the concept of zero-trust security is gaining traction. Zero trust means that no device or user is automatically trusted, even if they are inside the network perimeter. Instead, continuous verification and strict access controls are enforced. Applying zero-trust principles to smart device ecosystems can help contain breaches and limit the damage caused by compromised devices. Regulatory frameworks will continue to evolve to keep pace with technological change. We can expect more comprehensive laws that mandate security standards, data protection, and transparency. International cooperation will be essential, as cyber threats do not respect borders. Harmonizing regulations and sharing threat intelligence will strengthen global defenses. User empowerment will also play a vital role. As awareness grows, consumers will demand greater control over their data and devices. This shift will pressure manufacturers to prioritize security and privacy, fostering a market where trustworthiness becomes a key differentiator. Education remains foundational. Preparing users to navigate the complexities of smart technology safely will require ongoing efforts from governments, industry, and educators. Cyber hygiene practices like strong passwords, regular updates, and cautious sharing will become as routine as locking doors and windows. The ethical dimension of smart technology will come under increasing scrutiny. Questions about surveillance, consent, and algorithmic bias will shape public discourse and policy. Ensuring that smart devices respect human rights and promote social good will be a collective responsibility. Innovation in security technologies will continue to advance. Quantum computing, while still in its infancy, promises to disrupt current cryptographic methods, necessitating new approaches to encryption. Biometric authentication, behavioral analytics, and hardware-based protections will become more sophisticated and widespread. Collaboration between stakeholders, manufacturers, security researchers, policymakers, and users will be crucial. Sharing knowledge, resources, and best practices can create a resilient ecosystem capable of adapting to emerging threats. Ultimately, The future of smart devices hinges on balance. The benefits of connectivity and automation must be weighed against the risks to privacy, security, and autonomy. By learning from past tech horror stories and embracing a proactive, responsible approach, we can shape a future where smart technology enhances our lives without compromising our safety. As we conclude this journey through the dark and sometimes frightening world of smart devices, remember that technology is a tool. Its impact depends on how we wield it. Awareness, vigilance, and informed choices are our best defenses against the sinister side of innovation. Thank you for joining me in covering these true tech horror stories. Stay curious, stay secure, and stay in control. As we reach the final part of this exploration into the dark side of smart technology, it's important to reflect on the lessons learned and the path forward. The stories we've uncovered are not just cautionary tales, they are calls to action. They remind us that while smart devices offer incredible convenience and innovation, they also demand responsibility, awareness, and vigilance from everyone involved. One of the most critical takeaways is that security is a shared responsibility. Manufacturers must design devices with robust protections from the ground up, incorporating secure coding practices, regular updates, and transparent privacy policies. Regulators need to enforce standards that hold companies accountable and protect consumers. And users must educate themselves, adopt best practices, and remain alert to potential threats. The balance between convenience and security is delicate but achievable. Smart devices can transform our homes, workplaces, and cities for the better if we approach them with care. This means not blindly trusting technology, but understanding its capabilities and limitations. It means asking tough questions about data collection, consent, and control. It means demanding products that respect our privacy and safeguard our safety. Looking ahead, the evolution of smart technology will continue to accelerate. Emerging trends like the Internet of Bodies, where medical devices and wearables become deeply integrated with our physiology, will raise new ethical and security challenges. The rise of augmented reality and virtual reality will create immersive environments that blend physical and digital worlds, requiring fresh approaches to privacy and protection. In this rapidly changing landscape, adaptability is key. Security solutions must evolve alongside threats, leveraging advances in AI, machine learning, and cryptography. Collaboration across industries and borders will be essential to build resilient defenses, and ongoing education will empower users to navigate this complex ecosystem confidently. Ultimately, the future of smart devices depends on the choices we make today. By learning from true tech horror stories, we can avoid repeating mistakes and build a safer, smarter world. The power to shape this future lies in our hands through innovation, regulation, and informed use. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the hidden dangers and remarkable potential of smart technology. Stay informed, stay secure, and embrace the possibilities with eyes wide open.